Waiting is a terrible feeling. It is undescribably boring, crushingly boring, and very, very difficult for impatient people such as myself. And today's question comes from a viewer who says, how do I stop worrying that I will not meet the love of my life and get married and start my life? So, I'm going to break this down into two parts. Firstly, dispelling the notion that there's something wrong about having or not having a partner. And the second, we'll get into the idea of timing. So let's begin without further ado. As per always, I don't like long-winded introductions, so I just do what I want. That's why I made a YouTube channel, so I can do whatever I want. So let's get into it. So first of all, thank you so much for coming to the live earlier and for watching. I do have another live that was posted on Friday, so go check under the lives tab there. And yes, we're going to start a new Patreon series as well that is going to come out first video this week. So get ready for that. And it's going to be around a certain biblical principles, so breakdown of biblical interpretations. And so let's begin with, what do you do? So first of all, I want to illustrate something that's very, very human, and I want to destigmatize and remove the feeling of shame. We're also going to have a couple of videos on shame coming out. Shame is a programmed thing that it doesn't belong to you. It was put into your psyche by your environment, by the media you consume, etc. Now, notice I said the word consume. You don't choose to watch it. A lot of the things that we absorb are spoon fed to us, basically. So just before recording this, my niece is taking a break. We ate tiramisu and drank tea on the couch, and she's watching Sleeping Beauty. And we're just at the part where Aurora is singing with like Prince Philip, and she's telling me how they're betrothed and all this, and she's telling me about the plot, and I'm like, I'm thinking, and I was like, do you see? It's so funny. You grow up watching these things, and you think that just kind of happens. It doesn't just happen. It's also not everyone's destiny. So the first thing to understand is sometimes you think a desire is yours. It actually isn't. And I'm really sorry to say that. I spent a lot of time looking at charts and destinies and things, and I think you think you want that, but you don't actually want it. It doesn't belong to you? So that's the first thing. And there's nothing actually wrong in that, because I also find that a lot of the time, when I say marriage isn't for everyone, it's not like you're cursed or you're not getting something from life. It's that you've actually evolved past that. You can be so spiritual, you're just not compatible with earthly things sometimes. So you could be in this world, not of this world. Now, I'm not saying this about this particular person, but I'm saying it is possible. I do see it a lot more than you would think. And I see it a lot more so with women. Okay. Women tend to be a little bit more advanced spiritually. So they just kind of like don't care about fornicating and whatever else. So, okay, so that's the first thing, is to just demystify desire. So my belief, and I believe it's true, so I'm just going to carry on, is if you want something, it's already done because God put that desire in your heart. So time, if it stands the test of time, you will have it. That's the first thing. So let's think of it like this. When you're little and you start understanding your senses and moving throughout the world, you are amused by everything. Okay, like this shit, okay, that moms do, crinkly paper and lights and sparkles and things. And then you start to crawl, walk, and talk and interact. And you're babbling and you're forming language. And you're learning very organically through your environment how to interact with other babies and other toddlers and then other children. That's just your natural evolution. This is how I feel about desire for partnership. I don't even feel it's romantic sometimes. For some people, you can smell it on them. They don't have any sort of like, whimsical designs about fantasy and escaping their reality through romance because they're bored and they just like want to get on with it. They're actually have very high self-esteem. They're very accomplished, very sure of themselves. This is just logical. It just makes sense. Okay. So think about it like this. If you, and this question comes from a person in their mid to late 20s. So you want to do everything you wanted. So for example, maybe they travel the world. They got a degree. They've had several jobs. They've owned pets. They've increase their skill in whatever, fixing cars, cooking, they ran a marathon, who cares? Okay. They've done all the things they have wanted to do on their own. They have created and then cultivated a life that is pleasing to them. So when they set out for a partnership, that's just the next logical phase of their life, is to co-create with another. That's it. It's very simple and it's very attainable. So what you have to then find is someone who thinks the way you do as well, who wants a partnership for the same reasons you want a partnership. Is that it's just logical. It's the next stage of their evolution. So when I say that, sometimes a lot of people have criticisms, such as, hell, I mean, a lot of people have criticisms where they're like, no, they just want a baby. It's their prerogative. They want to propagate the species. Like they paint this like debasing desire, like this like visual of just a couple of mammals like wearing out each other's knees going into each other. Like no, like, don't be gross, okay? Like it's a beautiful thing to build a life with another person with shared values and shared vision, right? So cool heads prevail. I would take my sweet time when considering this. I had a very smart roommate who said to me, she married very well. She was very young when she got married. She said, marriage is a decision that can ruin your life. You need to be really careful, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a beautiful woman, but most especially if you're a smart woman, because people know that they can benefit from you. So you have to choose very carefully. So don't rush unless it's within your cultural context, not to have a long drawn out dating phase, engagement period, and then planning long engagement and then the wedding. Okay. So that's just culturally specific. I know in the West, like people would date for 2, 3 years, be engaged for a couple of years, then get married. So you're looking like 3, 4, 5 years. I personally don't align with that. I believe that the longer you wait, the more likely it will break. Okay. Like long lines break. That's what I believe. So I also wouldn't do anything impulsive. Again, if you don't have that cultural um, community and maybe religious circle around you where you can cross reference certain things. Okay. So you have to actually know where you come from and what works for you. That's the first thing. And the other thing, as I said, is to demystify and to destigmatize this, because I think people have this notion that like people are desperate because they're turning a certain age, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they are, some of them. But for the most part, I just think if you have done everything you've wanted to do at whatever stage in life, you can check all those things off and you're truly happy inside yourself and nothing is amiss with you, and you don't want a romantic partnership to escape reality, but rather to go deeper into reality, that's fine. All right. Male or female, that's fine. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second thing is timing. So timing is interesting because the question is what type of love? People are like a romantic love. But I love that interview with Cher when she was asked this question. She's like, I would tell my younger self, like, love's just not that important. Like, you think it is, but it's not. And if you told me that like 20 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. But actually, no, I would have believed you. I would have believed you 20 years ago. I was not that romantic. But now I'm a little bit more like sentimental. But so I understand it. But it's not everything. You still go back to your day to day tasks and life and getting on with things. You have to create magic. People say that stuff fades. It doesn't fade. You just didn't keep it alive, right? The pair of you have to want to keep it alive. That's the difference. So it is possible, but most people won't do it because, as I said earlier, most people consume and they consume statistics about failed marriages. They consume, stories of previous generations, how that stuff leaves, that stuff goes out the door, goes out the window, goes out the chimney. It's like, that's because those people don't work on it. You both have to work on it. Okay, if one of you is working on it, ciao, see you. I'm working on it. If I can work on it with you, I can work on it myself, right? But if two willing people come together, the sky's the limit, okay? So, in terms of timing, there's a few things I will add. This one's going to be a little bit frustrating, but there was a seminar where Abraham Hicks, a woman asked, like, well, where is my love or whatever? And they said, well, if you want a soulmate, you have to mate with your own soul, first of all. So, I would say, first of all, don't even wait for love. Do everything you want. You have one life God gave you. This is a privilege to be on this planet. It's a gift to exist. Do everything, okay? Go to school, get a hobby, run a marathon, learn to cook a Sunday roast dinner. Like, do whatever makes your heart sing. Join a book club, become a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu master. I don't care. Okay. Do whatever makes you happy. Read all the books. Why are you waiting? Go for it. Make a list of things you want to do. Go do them. Live your life for yourself. Because even if you're married, your identity doesn't stop. You still have to live for yourself. So I would do all those things. Okay. Now, in terms of timing, they also said, here's the thing. The thing that you want is almost never on the path of that thing. That means if you're thinking about love and romance, the more you think about it, the less likely it is to show up because you have a lot of natural bias around yourself and resistance around yourself. Therefore, you should look at other things, like I mentioned, hobbies, whatever. Okay. They also have this wonderful thing where they said, if you take like a list of 10 things in your life and 8 of them are going well and 2 are not, and you try to attack the problem of those 2 and you focus so heavily on them, then you're going to end up with 10 nasty things, right? Because the other 8 have no choice but to comply. But if you have only one good thing in your life and 9 things that are not so good, well, if you only focus on the one really good thing and you just milk it, and this is not, uh, what is that stupid thing called? toxic positivity. That's just like anyone who says that or accuses that has zero emotional intelligence and absolutely, I don't know what less than nothing is, but so lacking in self awareness. I fear for them. I fear for you. Okay. So that means you learn to train your mind, you learn to train your spirit to pay attention to things that actually feel good for you. And you enjoy them so much that the other things that aren't working out have no choice but to cooperate and rise in vibration to meet the level of the one good thing that is. So you end up with 10 good things as opposed to just one. All right. So that's what I say, get off that topic. Don't talk about dating. Give it like a month. Don't think about dating. Give it a month. Give it 40 days or something. Okay. Go think about other things that are working out for you. Throw yourself into a passion project. Get a coloring book. Buy a Sudoku book. Journal. Go for a run. Pick up something to do. Go lift weights. Do something else, but feel joy in that. Ran out of space and have to keep recording. So don't wait to find love. Focus on things that are already going well for you. If you haven't got any, get some. All right, go to the thrift store, buy a book for like a couple of dollars, go throw yourself into that imaginative world. Train your vibration, train yourself, train your spirit. So let's say like for 40, 41 days or whatever, you only pay attention to things that feel good to you. So if you're got an algorithm right now and some apps that are throwing out like divorce statistics and you want to get married, swipe. Don't look at that. Don't give it any airtime in your spirit, none whatsoever, right? Read books that are positive and uplifting. Okay, so get off the topic that makes you feel a lot of resistance. And when it feels nice, because if you're going to watch like one of those Hallmark Christmas movies and you feel pain that you don't have that, don't watch it. If you feel delight, go for it and watch it. Okay, the next thing is timing. So believe it or not, you do have some control over timing, but not all. And this is one of the more confusing things to people in like the esoteric and the spiritual realm. So consider this. Basically, the less you think about the timing, the faster it comes. That's really all there. That's to sum it up. That's all you need to know. So Bashar, in this one segment, a woman said, "I'm 31. Like I'm getting old. We're going to be the love of my life." And they were like, he found it really amusing. But he said, basically, imagine this is what I see in charts as well. And I'm talking a little fast because this is the third time I'm recording this, and I'm so tired of it glitching. So I'm trying to just pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. But say I see you're going to meet someone when you're 24 years old. And every time you look around and you're like, people are shitty. This sucks. I don't like doing this. There's no good people. When is it going to happen to me? Is there anyone normal? Why not me? You've just bumped it to 26. Then you have another fit. You bumped it to 27 and a half. And it just keeps, so it's you doing it to yourself, you pushing your own timeline and then looking for circumstances to blame. It's not good for you. So I would say literally it would feel so good to just know that God has it in his hands and you don't have to think about it, okay? And Neville Goddard explains this really well in terms of timing. So if you're sensitive, I'm going to use the Schmortion word. This is the best way I can explain it. He basically says like when you have a desire, you plant a seed in your mind, but now you don't see it sprouting and you don't see the roots being formed, you don't see them taking hold, and because there's nothing come to the surface, which means you don't see it in your external reality, you assume nothing's happening. So you stick your hand in the dirt and rip it out. You effectively abort your desire. That is a spiritual abortion. That's why it hurts you. Because when you look at that and you're asking, where is it? This is taking too long. You hurt yourself and it sucks. It feels low. It feels sad, right? So that's what you do to your own desire. You abort it inside your mind, which is the same thing as stopping it on the outside. Okay. This is, if you could see into negative space, if you could feel the mechanism that operates our realm of existence, that is exactly what you would see. You would see you kill it dead, and then you wonder why no one's giving it to you because you killed it. You just signaled that you don't want it. Okay. So, in terms of timing, that's what I would do. I would stop wondering. You know that you want it. It's going to happen. Let it go. Don't think about it anymore. So, you have to find a way to distract yourself positively. I don't mean like substances and stuff. Very good passage from Habakkuk. Okay, Habakkuk, which means to embrace. So, it's actually kind of perfect. We embrace that it's done, it's already done. The Lord's answer, Habakkuk 2, verse 3. So, chapter 2, verse 3. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. The revelation, so let's say your wedding day, your 10-year wedding anniversary, whatever. The revelation awaits an appointed time. It speaks of the end, and it will not prove false. Though it linger, wait, for it will come and it will surely not be late. So it will happen, but don't question it. So take it from the top. For the revelation awaits an appointed time. An appointed time. It didn't say perhaps, it said an appointed time. The time is appointed. It must come to pass, right? It speaks of the end and will not move and will not prove false. So it speaks of the end. Done. Want to be married? You're married. Done. It speaks of the end. That's the end. You're married. You have your partner. You've built your life. So it will not prove false. So if it can't not happen, why are you considering the possibility that it won't happen? That's crazy to me personally. That's crazy making. Okay, so it's already done. Though it will linger, wait, for it will surely come and it will not be late. Done. It's done. Shut the book. It's finished. That's it. That means it's done. All right. There's more I would like to say on this. I'm scared my memory's going to run out again. Way. So, that's all there really is to know. Don't beat yourself up about it. Nothing has gone wrong. Nothing is wrong with you. Yes, there's external human things we can all do. We can all smell a little better, look a little fuller or thinner, be a little whatever, more charming. Everybody wants more money. What's new? Nobody wants it more so than people who've tasted it, okay? Fine. Everybody wants nicer bangs. This is an abomination. Don't know what this is. We'll just ignore that and keep moving. Everybody wants a nicer car or a home or a second home or a weekend home, a summer home. Right. That that's somewhere out there. You just take yourself as you are now, flood yourself with love, and then let the best things happen. Let good things come to you. Let nice things happen for you. Let life surprise you a little bit. Let it unfold. What's wrong with that? Let love have its way with you. Let life have its way with you. And just enjoy it to the best of your ability. Nothing's gone wrong and everything's okay. And truly, I see this um, in my practice. I do see people who have not realized that they're just here for something bigger. And it saddens me to say, but their purpose is big. And the more they think about partnership, they also delay their purpose because they create this obstacle for themselves. And I know what I'm talking about. I have just about every measurable thing that you can have that makes a person unmarriageable, okay? And I'm not crying about it. It's called being an ascetic or asceticism, okay? There's several yogas that you can go through. I have absolutely every one of them. I think every single one. I think it's pretty daunting. But when you realize that you have to give your love to the world and there's nothing wrong with you. Okay? It's just that the love that you're called to give is beyond physical love. It's not lust. It's divine love, or it's familial love, or it's something for a cause or community. And that's just as beautiful. And when you fall into that and you start doing what God put you here to do, people can't help but join you. It's like the most loving scent and odor just radiates from you. I don't care if you're passionate about jigsaw puzzles or dog walking. I don't care if you want to invent the next generation of post it notes or something, okay? If that's what you're into, like making bookmarks or designing winter tires, when you get so hyped up and so enthusiastic about what you do and why you're here, you will attract love like no other. So go forth and be happy. God bless you all. And we're going to start. There was a request to do biblical interpretations starting with money on Patreon. So we're going to do that. We're also going to cover a couple of videos here publicly on YouTube for shame. We'll do a small series on shame and how to get over shame. And the purpose of shame actually has a lot of value. I've talked about this before in previous YouTube lives. And then we're going to continue with love and romance because it's cuffing season pretty much from now until, well, like June when summer kicks off and no one cares. And then we come back to the colder months and people care again. All right, I love you all. If you'd like a reading, please DM me on Instagram on Guru Grit or email me at gurugritinfo@gmail.com. Etsy, I'm going to close and start a website again and see how that works out. Again, it's amazing what you can do the second time around. So I love you all very much and bye for now.